Welcome back to Radio Entrepreneurs. I'm Jonathan Freedman, and our next guest is Michael Dwyer, founder of Emplana Career. Welcome to Radio Entrepreneurs, Michael.
Well, thank you, Jonathan. I'm so impressed with Mage and this series of podcasts. I'm delighted to be here.
Fantastic. Why don't you tell our listeners a little bit what Emplana is all about?
Well, it's a career advisory service, and it's really based on several sort of drivers or experiences. Number one, it's a day job. I've had a consulting firm in public pension operations since 2009, and that has been very successful. My career is probably half private, half public sector, and all that stuff informs. And I'm lucky enough, you'd be trusted by clients after a while, as I suspect Mage is, what I'm taking away from your website. I work on cybersecurity, cloud computing, a little bit of AI. So for a senior, I get to play with some pretty good toys. And I think that translates into the ability to help people. I've noticed on some of your podcasts, you ask, what was sort of the formative experiences or, what? And I think I have a couple of things to bring forward on that. First, I've worked with both Ernst & Young and Deloitte. So you can't stop me from thinking about anything as a framework, right? Ernst & Young and Deloitte, what else do they do? The second thing is, twice in my career, both times for 6.5 years, I've worked with genius level people. I mean, I have 700 college boards, which sounds smart, but twice I've been surrounded by people with 800 boards, literally math, this and that. So what's that do? It makes you be a student of how you can contribute and how you can become indispensable. And I think there are answers there. If you really learn the business and you're really switched on and engaged and you can help sell business, deliver business, and close the books, well, you might just be moving towards indispensable. So does that give some background and some shape to why there'd be a practice that I want to share with some clients?
Absolutely. So I would imagine the proposition is that everybody has those nuggets, if you will, within. Everybody has some framework, some context, and also some inherent ability. You're helping them to pull it out and to frame it and to identify it and recognize it.
Just that. Exactly right. And it often doesn't even take long. One of the things we put on the website is there's, a free 1-hour consult, and whether people have come through the website or just through my co-working space or whatever else, a lot of times just a chat is all you need. One of the things that's really interesting, I mentioned to you folks before about a focus group. A number of years ago, I commissioned a marketing study on career coaches. How does this business work? And it turns out that if we want to get in shape, we all expect to hire a trainer. But if we want to change our career, there's some sort of a sense that I need to figure this out solo. And that just seems so wrong to me. It seems like the most collaborative of activities. You want to be shopping, getting viewpoints and pointers and testing your ideas and direction. So really, that's kind of the culture that we're trying to install.
What do you find that most people struggle with? Is it the idea? Is it focusing on where the service or product can be best utilized? Or is it breaking out of the mindset of, the routine, the history, many people are perhaps, and I think you deal largely with mid-career, we'll call it professionals, looking to pivot. The times, as we've seen, there's a lot of layoffs. It's not always easy to find something when you're a little more gray-haired, such as ourselves. And so where do you find the biggest block is for people to be able to identify and move forward?
Well, I think it's for people who've been in their field for a while, it's very hard to imagine a different role, job, level. I'm lucky enough to work with all age groups. I do some work with Suffolk's career office, job shadowing and mentoring and the like. So all the way from graduate students to gray hairs. And I think the difficulty can be to break a pattern that, if you have done a certain job before, you think that the way to get income and security is to do that job again. I don't know that that's always true anymore. And one of the things we're always probing with people is, and I think perfect for this podcast, do you have some entrepreneur in you? And, that doesn't mean you need to go get a patent or come up with something in biotech. I mean, as you folks know, professional services is entrepreneurial. So one of the things you can do is take a good look and see what can I offer? And I'll tell you, I've hired people off Upwork and put people on Fiverr, the gig platforms. And I think that has to be part of our arsenal these days.
No, it really is amazing when you stop to think about the number of opportunities and how different they are using, as you allude to, various platforms to get the word out there. I guess it's the, what drives what? Is it the necessity that drives things, or is it the invention that drives, which came first, the chicken and the egg? And I think it's probably the intersection of both of those that sort of drive the new ideas and people making things happen.
Well, thanks. This brings up I love to talk about business with people. I'm always learning. Somebody in my circle put me on to doing this study at what age group clients have shown up at my door over the last 10 years. And it turns out there's a few good kind of common mile markers. First, the 30-year-old. Okay, I've been out there for a while. I got my feet under me. What's next? Those are fun. The next one is kind of the 45 to 50, where somebody's starting to say, often, unfortunately, it's sort of a necessity, as you say, sort of, it's more competitive. I made more money 10 years ago in financial services, whatever. And then there's this one that I'm really getting fascinated with is the senior, where we want to have another chapter. We have all this experience and wisdom. And I think if you play your cards right, you can find a way to get out there.
Yeah, and I think, the macro economy obviously drives some of it. I think people are, as we know, there's a lot of uncertainty. I don't know of many costs that are going down. So, whatever we've put aside is worth less than it was several years ago, even though the aggregate may have grown, the purchasing power is less. So I think people are sort of in this, the math would be simple if we all knew what the end date was. We all hope for the longest end date possible, but recognition that that's, it could be anywhere. So I think that all of those factors are sort of driving people to say, what's that next, sunset move? And I think the other thing that we have today that, sort of differs from traditional careers are the flexibility. It doesn't necessarily have to mean you have to lock yourself into something for 8 or 10 hours a day. It may be a 2 or 3 hours or 2 days doing one thing and a couple of days doing something else. And, the various things that bring either joy, satisfaction, self-fulfillment, all of those types of things that may have been missing in people's careers.
So true. I mean, you might have been an executive before, but you might find out that he or she actually loves having a dog walking business and time to write the novel. And that's exactly what you want to talk through. I think you're familiar with Steve Dubin of PR Works. He's got a great piece on working with seniors where he says, say you retire and you play a lot of pickleball and you catch up on your BritBox TV. And then you say to yourself, maybe I'm not done. So whether it's because you can get some more money, because you want to give back, because you want to be vital, I think there's a lot of motivators. And what I like to do is just brainstorm with people, because sometimes there's this wonderful phrase that I'm unpacking called skills adjacency. I think it means a few things, actually. One is that where can I take a skill I have into an adjacent sector? But another one is, if I fill in a couple more tiles in the mosaic, what would that look like? And what could I do? And that's really where the fun is when you're working together to say, if I added this, if I stretch, and obviously you folks are so plugged in, the networking piece. I saw your Nolodex episode, great about networking. I think network is vital, and I think you should be doing a couple kinds of it. We have at Emplana, we've developed a whole category system of, is it classic, Rotary Club? Is it identity? I'm a Black gay accountant. That's some navigation in our society. Is it stretch? I need to learn about collaborative tools. Can I do could I invite Jonathan to set up a golf tournament using Slack? That's one way to learn. There's just so many fun ways. I want to make this positive and kind of a shopping spree and say, what are we interested in? How can we develop that? How can we get strong at it? And how can we have an offering, whether it's as a job or as a freelancer?
Or they say as a side gig. Wonderful, or side hustle, I should say. Wonderful stuff. Michael, if people want to get in touch with you, want to learn more about Emplana Career, what's the best way for them to reach out to you or to find out more about the services you offer?
Well, please do see the website, emplanacareer.com. I'm assuming that I see you folks have helped, Mage has helped 700 clients, and I'm delighted with that. And the beauty of having a day job is that it keeps you current and this and that, but I have clients. So coming through the website means I'll be sure to see an email or a form submission and respond to that. Love to work with people. Don't need to put the meter on first thing. I mean, like I say, there's an offering there for a free first meet.
Wonderful. Great to learn about it, Michael. I wish you continued success. Michael Dwyer, founder of Emplana Career. It's been a pleasure having you on Radio Entrepreneurs.
Thank you, Jonathan. Thanks for having me.
And we'll be right back with another segment on Radio Entrepreneurs.